Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamualaikum. Ji ayanu, pakhair agale, ni hao, chunashumme, washmale. Ohai Gonzaimes, guten Morgen, hola, boyo, privyet, kaifa hal? Hale shumat chatore, ahlan wa sahlan, marhaba. Buna, mucho gracias, swabia, bhalli kare aaya. Hoş geldin and I say huyam or achivat tochi haljot kali mera khairatan. And a very warm welcome to everybody who's tuned in to PTV World and watching World this morning. Alongside my very well-learned colleague who happens to be Ms. Haja Satti. I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan. And ladies and gentlemen, what a blessed day it is because today it happens to be Friday. It's a Friday, blessed morning over here in Islamabad. The weather's opening up. It's not too cold. It's not too warm. And that's why I think I'm on top of my energy. But let me ask my wonderful colleague over here. Hello, Haja. How are you feeling today?
Walaikum assalam. Thank you so much, Jazakallah Khair Shahzad, for introducing me. And I certainly agree with you. So we are transitioning formally into the spring weather. Although I don't like it and I've expressed my displeasure over that for a long time because I would want that spring season to be in the April in which it used to be back in the past, especially living in Islamabad. But I think these are the climatic traditions and conditions and we can't do much about it. But I was going through news and I came across a very interesting news because
Go ahead, shoot.
So on Instagram and on Snapchat and on all of these social media platforms, we all are privy to the concept of beauty filters, right?
Yep.
So we have seen that and we as a human have lots of different conditions. So we have pores, we have pimples, we have spots, we have different sort of skin types, and we've seen how these beauty filters totally change our entire perception, and these are the digital botoxes that completely change our personality and gives us a very inflated sense of our egos, right? Inflated sense of a
self-esteem.
Yes, and that is linked to a very external factor, right? So, and a lot of governments around the world, they are actually taking tasks and they are actually suing all of these companies for these beauty filters because they feel that because of these beauty filters, because of these inflated sense of ego and the grandiosity that they induce in their, social media and digital natives, because of that, lots of people are facing anxiety, a lot of people are facing mental health crisis, depression and whatnot. And because of that, their self-esteem is totally affected, right? And I think it's beautiful how Allah has created you because you are created on the divine imprint, right? Allah is Al-Musawwir, He has created you in the best of the imprints. But then these beauty companies, the beauty filters, they step in just to earn a lot of money, just to earn a lot of clientele. What they do is they start to give us another self-concept which is based on their, I would say, revenue or the income, right? Because of that, they earn a lot of money out of that.
It's a complete industry out there.
Of course. And I think that's a wise step because lots of companies, especially lots of governments in the Middle East, in the Europe, they are taking these companies to the task and they are asking them to, do something about these beauty filters, to do something, this very wrong sense of beauty that they are instilling into their digital natives. And because of that, we've seen that everyone is using digital filters.
And thank you so much, Haja, for pinpointing that as well because, I would reflect back to, Al-Khaliqur, Al-Musawwirul, Ghafarul. Yes. I think that, for all of these praises that we have for Allah Almighty, I think what we really need to do is that when we say that Shukr Alhamdulillah, we need to believe it first as well, right? So whatever you have to yourself, you really need to be full of gratitude. And thank you so much for pinpointing that. Because it's not just the anxiety, it's not just these issues that we see in the society today. Imagine that there were people who got married to women and unfortunately right after the makeup, what they figured out wasn't something which was very pleasing for them as well. Unfortunately for those people who thought that, okay, that's how my life's going to be, I think this is something which people need to come out straightforwardly as well. The first ever individual I knew who actually kind of put her foot down on this was Kate Winslet from Hollywood, and she said that none of the graphics will take place in my movies, and whatever and however I look, that's exactly how I'm going to go about it as well. And imagine that, even for myself, this is something which I would like to share about, myself today, that, with so many filters and beauty options and whatnot, I always choose to not to use the filter so that people would always know, because most of the times I think people who work for television or media industry, what happens is, sir, aap TV pe to bahut mukhtalif lagte hain, jahan to pehchane hi nahi ja rahe. Now this is something
I hear that a lot. I think people from the media, from the entertainment background, they hear
so imagine, there's a lot of negative connotation to it, and it's because of the fact that so when you're all dolled up or, when you get your makeup done and hair done and everything and you dress well. So imagine that as soon as you're probably in your PJs and wherever you are, probably in a market or if you're going somewhere, people, it's hard for them to recognize, because the way you look on television, you're not looking in personal life. Now, for you to kind of get over that, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you do not use those filters. Please do not put your pictures as well, just like that. If there's one thing that you need to do, I think, to look better, is go work out, be fit, do more exercise, and you will certainly not face those issues.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a beauty filter on your picture. You can certainly go if you want to, but do not derive your strength, your confidence from those beauty filters, right?
But eventually what
Do not
happens is,
associate-
Hajra, that you keep it in your perception that now this is how I'm going to look good.
This is where it's problematic. So, for example, if I'm posting 10 pictures maybe in a month, right, and if in one of
And
that
I've never
picture,
seen you using a filter as well.
No, I don't use
Never.
it because my mobile, I don't know, I'm not very tech savvy in that sense because I don't have that sort of facility, or if I have, I don't know how to use it. But even
you don't
though,
need it as well.
Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah khair. I don't think so anyone needs it because again, like I said, that we are created on the divine imprint, right? Humne tumhe behtareen naqsh pe paida kiya. This is what Allah says in the Quran, right? So again, that is where it gets problematic, that you derive your sense of worth, your confidence and your entire personality from those very external sources, and you do not need validation from someone else. And especially from a model that is banking on your insecurities just because they want to earn money out of that, because it's a very capitalist model. And speaking of capitalist models, Shahzad, so now let's develop this conversation.
And to develop this conversation, I have a beautiful idea. So now imagine that if you're not sure about how you look, imagine the kind of confidence you will have. So for example, if you're going to be an entrepreneur in your life, now there will be a lot of challenges, there will be a lot of problems, issues, success and whatnot, and all of it, one way or the other, will certainly come down or reflect upon the kind of person you are or the personality you have. You know, how strong-minded you are, you know, how effective you are with your time.
I would also like to add into this conversation, because being a Pakistani, I'm really proud the way our state is looking after, has looked after the individuals, especially in terms of the medical health insurances, right? Because lots of powerful states, for example, in America, there's always this problem because healthcare is extremely expensive there. The medical billings, it is extremely expensive there. And lots of Pakistanis, you will find that they are coming here in Pakistan, they're flying here and getting their treatment done from Pakistan because it's cheaper here, right? And I feel that that's because our state has catered or was able to develop a very flexible model where they're looking after not just the marginalized segment, but also the well-off segment too, right? So how do we combine this model where the medical billing problem is resolved and also at the same time where the revenue problem is also resolved, is something that we are going to reflect upon.
Exactly. So I still remember that, you know, when for the very first time I went to US, I think it was back in 2015.
Right.
All of a sudden, I had to take my daughter to the hospital, and imagine the bill was $1,500.
Oh my God.
Then, unfortunately, I had to go to the hospital, ladies and gentlemen. The bill was $1,200.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, you guys stay here. Let me go back home, earn some money, and I'll send it your way. But we have an individual over here who's solving or resolving this medical billing issue all over the United States, probably in 10 states as of now as well. We will be in conversation with him. He does not hail from a very solid background, but what he did, you know, in his life, by far, ladies and gentlemen, has actually made him an inspiration. He's over here with us. We're very lucky that we've been joined by an entrepreneur himself, and he happens to be Mr. Naeem Abbas. Hello, assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you feeling, brother?
Salam, good morning. I'm doing well.
Thank you so much for joining us. Wonderful to have you over here. You know, it's an honor to have you over here for such a young, amazing, budding, talented gentleman, you know, who's going to inspire millions of people out there in 46 different countries.
And Mr.
Thank you
Naeem,
very
so
much.
America is also called the land of opportunities, because if you
Surely.
work well there, so you can earn a lot of money there. But you are able to craft a very successful model where you have combined medical billing with the revenue model. So please explain to our audiences what exactly was your model about.
Right. So basically, I'll start from the scratch.
Sure.
Sure. Go ahead. You're all
Like
ears.
in Pakistan, we do not have opportunities. Like America is a land of opportunities, but in Pakistan, the country we live in, we have to make our way. So
Okay.
I was actually born
You
into
have to
a
be street smart.
yeah. So you have to be street smart, and
Yeah.
that was one of the criteria when I started hiring people for my startup. I thought I'll not go with somebody that is well educated, like high degrees, but they should be street smart. So that's right on point.
Exactly. So that's great. So you know, when you started, you know, let us talk about your background, you know, your education, and then we'll move on towards how did you actually come into being.
Sure. Yeah, so I was actually born into a small village of Multan. Multan was our division,
Somewhere
district
alongside
Lodra.
Lodra?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then Karodpaka was our tehsil.
Wow.
And then there was a small town, Ranavan, where I was born.
यानी पंजाबी बोलते बोलते तुसी बड़े हुए हो ये सराइकी बोलते
Saraiki speaking, yes.
अच्छा by the way I know a little bit of Saraiki as well 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 I think that's the only Saraiki that I know
Right.
all right please continue
So the village where I was born, we still have a primary school in there.
Mashallah.
We did not have any middle school or high school, so I started my early education from that village. I did my 5 class, and then I had to go to another town 5 kilometers away from our village to get my 6, 7 and 8 class done.
It wasn't on a bicycle you know how our parents used to tell us पुत्र
Yeah, I was on the
street light के
bicycle.
नीचे बैठ के पढ़ते रहे तो अगर लाइट वहाँ आ रही तो घर में भी आ ही रही होगी
Right.
yeah please go on
Yeah, so it was on the bicycle I used to go there. Then after completing my 8th class, I had to go to Karotpaka, that was our tehsil, and we had a high school over there. So
Wonderful.
I did my matric from there in 2001.
And I'm pretty much sure that while you were growing up, obviously for this medium that we are communicating in today, you might not be very good with it or
Exactly.
probably very shy about it as well.
Yes.
So when was it that you landed in US and then there was this billing company, that gentleman has been over here on our show
Right.
so many times. He's the pioneer of that billing company as well. I think that the name of the company
Mahmood.
happens to be MTBC if I'm not wrong.
Right.
Let's talk about your US journey. How did you go to US?
So I have never been to US.
Okay, so you've never been to US, but your
Yes.
company operates in US.
Yes.
How? How did that happen?
So basically I joined, since you mentioned MTBC, I
Yeah.
joined MTBC as a project manager in 2018. I was in Karachi back in the days, and I was jobless. I was looking for a job. I was doing multiple
You
jobs.
got married and then you got jobless.
Yes. So in 2016 I got married, and 2017 I lost my job. And when I lost my job, I was actually heading a company with 3 offices in Karachi, Lahore and Islamabad.
Why did you lose the job?
Because I wanted growth.
Okay.
And we have a glass ceiling concept in Pakistan. People don't let you go where you want to go.
True. So then let us talk about that argument that you might have had when you lost that job.
Yeah.
Or probably was it just a simple resign and you thought that okay, I'm not growing over here, let me just get done with this?
So actually when I was promoted, I was in Islamabad. I was sent back to Karachi, and I was given responsibility to manage Karachi, Lahore and Islamabad, 3 offices.
Okay.
I was doing really well. After 6 months I went to my CEO and I questioned, so where do you see me in the next 6 months?
Sure.
And he was like, you're already at the top of your career. I think this is your top. And I was like, that means there's no growth here.
Yeah.
Right?
So now let's forward it to how you combine the model of the medical billing and then combine it with the revenue and how you are earning from sitting here and your company is operating in US, right?
Obviously, fast forward, Haja, but I think that people who are listening, I think they need to know that when at a certain place you do see that there's no growth, there are a lot of challenges. You just
Yes.
got married. You're being jobless now.
Right.
You were heading 3 offices. Even your wife at times will tell you, "यार अच्छा खासा काम ते चल रहा सी नहीं तेनू की पई सी
Exactly.
तू नौकरी छड़ के आ गया तू बेवकूफ ते नहीं है." So I've seen that happening to myself as
I
well.
totally get that,
So,
yes.
so I would want people to know how
Right.
did you cater to all of those challenges and bashing and the entire family going after you for leaving a job.
Yeah, so cutting long story short, when I lost my job, I went to my home and I told my wife that I lost my job. And she was like, that's okay, I think you have the capability, you'll do better.
Okay.
And we have some savings for now, so relax, don't just get worried about that. So I started finding other jobs. It took me 1, 2, 3 months, no job, so I started teaching because that was my passion.
Okay.
So I started teaching, and in the part time, I joined a call center for a nominal salary because I need to meet both ends meet, right?
True.
So back in 2018, I remember January, February and March.
What was the most harsh statement that you actually came across ever when you were jobless? That you can never forget कि यार ये भी वक्त आंदा है बंदे होते.
Well, I think
Anything of that sort.
everybody leaves.
Everybody leaves, yes. Thank you so much. And then how did you feel? How did you pick yourself up?
It's basically, it's your inner self that keeps you motivated, and you don't have to ask or beg from people. You don't have to ask favors.
Yeah.
You have to do it yourself.
And how was the relation with Allah Almighty, while you were going through that tough time?
I think that was strengthening me because I knew that this tough time is going to make
कि
me.
जिंदगी लंघ ते जानी है, लेकिन इंशाल्लाह, I'm going to stick to it. So,
Exactly.
okay, fast forward
So
now.
2018, fast forward, I was doing a call center job. I was teaching in a school, and I was riding a rickshaw in the streets of Karachi,
क्या बात है,
Okay.
माशाअल्लाह.
just to make sure that I'm not asking money or help from anyone else.
True.
I got a phone call April 2018 from a company, MTBC,
Yep.
that we have a job of a project manager if you're interested, and I said I would love to. I looked into the company. It was a multinational US-based company. I thought it's
Big
a great
company.
opportunity.
Yeah.
So I was hired. April 26, 2018, I joined them. I worked for them for 4-5 months. I got the whole gist of the business, how that works. But I again realized that there's no growth here.
Okay.
Okay.
So this time around, I decided to leave the job and get into the business.
All right.
And I picked medical medical billing industry as a venture.
So you were jobless for such a longer time. You know, you were working at a call center, then you were driving a rickshaw and whatnot. You were teaching, and then you finally got a job after so long. And then after 6 months, you realize it again that there's no growth. But obviously, for any business to get started, there needs to be a lot of investment which needs to come in.
Exactly.
So for sure, you didn't even have that investment. So
Exactly,
then,
I did not have.
you know,
Because
don't you think that you were getting a little stubborn now that, you know, okay, hun agli naukri bhi main nahi karni?
Yeah, it was like that. I was little stubborn since the beginning. So because again the same thing, there was no growth. When I went to my director and I questioned him that, okay, I got my probation cleared.
Yeah.
I got all the benefits now. The email is very nice that you've successfully cleared your probation. But where is the raise?
Yeah.
Right? Because I was told after 3 months when you clear your probation, you will be given a raise too.
Okay.
That is not there. So he was like, you know, you're already making more than what I make. I've been with the company for more than 10 years. And you're just 4 months old in the company. I won't recommend your raise. So that thing made me realize that, again, glass ceiling is there. If I have to work for somebody else, I have to face
Why not
that
do it
thing.
for myself? Yeah.
Do it myself, right? But I did not have the investment, so I wanted an investor. I made a feasibility report and I started presenting that idea to different investors, the people who have money, because I knew people want to do business.
True.
They do not have the idea.
Ideas, yeah.
So I pitched that idea to multiple people. They said, sorry, this is a flop idea, because my idea was that what we will do, we'll set up a team of cold callers in Pakistan. We'll start calling doctors in the US who need our services, and we'll try to sell the service.
Yeah.
Everybody said that, have you ever been to US? And I said, no. He said, do you know somebody in the US? I said, no. Then they told me, what makes you think that you can set up a company? And I said, I think I can do it.
Yeah.
And they said, well,
So
we
there
do
was the
not believe in
self-belief.
what you think.
Yeah.
So there was the self-belief that I
Self-belief.
can do it.
So finally I got one investor to agree on my idea. He gave me a very little investment.
How much was it, if you don't mind me asking?
That was like 3 lakh rupees per month.
That's it.
That's it.
That was the only
150,000 was
investment.
my salary, and there were 2 other resources, 80 and 70,000. So 300,000 per month. And he told me that give me proof of concept. After you land first client, I'll give you more investment.
Okay.
But once we have to have the proof of concept. So within the first 2,
So what would you say for that gentleman who actually held your hand, you know, right in the beginning?
he's my mentor. I always
Mashallah.
call him up whenever I become like more successful. Every now and then, like
What's his name?
his name is Zahid Hanif. He's
So
a
Zahid
US
bhai,
based-
you know, if you're listening to us today, thank you so much, because, you know, just because of you, we have a success story over here in our country. This budding, amazing gentleman is making Pakistan proud, and that too in 10 different states of the United States of America. So a rich tribute to you, sir. Thank you so much for doing that. Please.
and by the way, he was the owner of the same company where I was got fired from.
the first company.
The first company.
Okay.
Because the
Wonderful.
CEO fired me. He was in the US.
Okay.
Right. He used to mentor me. I used to talk to him. I learned a lot from him because he was a Harvard graduate, and like the mentality of the people living in the US is totally different. They want to help people grow.
Yeah.
Right. So when I started my own company, I called him out and I said, I'm starting up my own business, and I think you are the mentor. And he was,
Yeah.
no, Naeem, you had the ability and skill set, and I think this is your thing.
Mashallah.
And I dedicated that success to him because he
Kya
was
baat
the one who trained me
Wonderful.
to, you know, be ready for the challenges.
And then what happens? So now you're getting 300,000 every month, and
Yeah.
you've got 2 resources who are calling doctors in the United States.
I myself was calling, right?
Okay,
Because
you
those 2
yourself
people
were
were not convinced with my idea.
Okay.
I just pushed them my way.
Kya how they say na fir karna
How
hai.
to say, right?
Yeah.
So I used to make 250 calls and they were making 50, 60 calls.
Every day.
Every day.
Wow. And how many callers, or, you know, how many people would say, okay, you know, get back to us or something of that sort? Or
So
you would
99%
figure
of the
out-
time people don't even pick up the phone call because
Okay.
the doctors are busy. And in order to sell a service, you need to reach to the decision maker.
True.
So as a cold caller, you need to understand first that if you are pitching the idea to somebody which is not having the authority to decide, you're wasting your time.
True.
Right, and how successful is this model? Because considering the fact that we are third world countries and obviously our dollar is constantly fluctuating,
Right.
and so how do you deal with that? Because whenever there is a fluctuation in the rupee and the dollar, what do you call the disparity there? So it's going to be very profitable, right? Because
It is.
The income is
See,
coming
when
in
I
the
started
dollars,
out my
right?
own company back in 2021, so I went into startups, they did not go that well.
True.
I left that startup and I started my own company back in 2021, July 2021 with 4 people. I took my dining table to a room upstairs. I had 4 computers and we started with 4 people.
Okay.
Now we have a team of 650.
MashaAllah.
In Rawalpindi, we have 4 offices and we're growing, right?
Mashallah.
Right.
So
So I want to actually know, when you landed your first client and how was
Yeah.
that? Because every time you're going to call somebody from Pakistan to US, they certainly will judge your accent as well and where you're calling from.
Yes.
So were you, was it your team who were actually posing as they were calling from USA?
No.
Or did you always tell them that, yeah, we're calling from Pakistan, we're a medical billing company?
yeah, so my idea was entirely different.
Okay.
I thought that since I do not have a US visa, I cannot go to US. If I use pseudo, like we used to call people with pseudo, like my name was Dean Fleming when I was
Yeah,
working at the company, right? So I was Dean, I was not Naeem.
Because my name was Paul Cooper. I used to do it once as well. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, so you know that, right?
Yeah,
How
yeah,
that
yeah.
works. But I was with the idea, like if I use a fake name and if I get a chance to go to US, people won't even recognize me who I am.
True.
So when I started my own company, I told people, you'll all go with your real names. I myself will go the real name, right?
So from
Everybody
name to
else.
Dean, what was
Dean
it?
to Naeem. Yeah, the transition from Dean to Naeem was
Okay.
pretty smooth. People used to laugh at us. People used to say, I'll tell you a story. One of my clients that is now a very good client of mine, he's doing very good business.
Mashallah.
When I called him up, I told him, like, I want to basically offer you medical billing service. And he was like, where are you from? And I said, I'm from Pakistan. Because I told the team that do not lie about
Okay.
who you are, where are you from.
Wonderful.
Right.
So I said, I'm from Islamabad, I've got an office in there. And he was like, you know what, Naeem, the problem is I don't trust Pakistanis.
Then, how did you come across that?
So I said, well, if you allow me to be blunt,
Yeah.
we Pakistanis don't like Americans too.
and then
Right?
how did he
This
respond?
is business.
Yeah.
And this is business. And he laughed about that.
Yeah.
He said, Naeem, this is really good, right? So let's talk about that. Let's keep talking. I'm not going to give you business, but let's keep talking. So we kept talking about that. And at one point, he said, Naeem, I need one resource if you can help me with that.
Yeah.
And now that person, we are offering him like 50 resources every month.
Mashallah. Mashallah.
So that's how it goes.
Wonderful.
So you have to trust on your abilities. I knew that we are sitting in a gold mine of resources in Pakistan.
Exactly.
And that's not my word. There are clients in the US, they tell me.
And it's all human resource over here. Imagine
Yes.
we're a country of 24 crore population, so I think
Yes.
everybody needs to kind of understand that.
Right.
But now I will bring you back to where you started off from MTBC. You learnt everything over there. You had the skill. You knew it. There was self-belief.
Right.
Now, obviously, for a company which is already operating in the United States of America, it's huge. The owner of that company is now flying everywhere in a helicopter, and that certainly is the future for you. But for such companies, they would always know that there's a threat which is coming towards our way, and that they can bigger. Did you ever get a call from them and was like, hey, you know what, why don't you sell your business to us, or something of that sort?
Not right now, but there are multiple businesses reaching out to me from the US and they want to buy my company.
Okay.
They made different offers, but I'm not into that.
Why not?
I strongly believe that we have to create jobs in Pakistan. If I sell the company, they will reduce more resources,
yeah.
or they may take business away to India.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
we have 99% of the billing companies operating from India.
True.
Right? So, like my thing was to create jobs in Pakistan.
Okay.
That is where when I hire, I don't look at.
You've created almost 700 jobs, right?
Yes,
If we are
700.
not wrong.
Now
And
we have
then
got a
there
new
are 4
office,
offices,
we'll
there's
add-
infrastructure.
Yes.
It's just amazing, and for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, imagine that that for all of those challenges that he came across, he always made sure that there was this power of self-belief. But now that alhamdulillah, you're getting a lot of dollars,
Right.
how do you spend them on your family, where your wife actually told you that we have enough savings, you do
Right.
not have to get worried? How's the relationship now?
That's gets stronger, you know that, right?
Mashallah.
How that works.
So for whatever she needs now, you always
That's
make
at
sure
her
that
disposal. She's actually working with me at the
Mashallah.
office.
That's what I wanted to listen to.
She's the
See?
CFO of the company.
Mashallah.
that's
I'm the CEO. She works as a CFO. She's a supporting partner. She
यानी
has
कि
always been-
तिजोरी की चाबी उनके पास है.
Yeah.
I think that's
Right.
wonderful. But now imagine that that when we talk of such businesses, it's a great startup. Obviously, we might be short on time as well and might not discuss about all the challenges as well. But what happens is that when alhamdulillah you get financially independent,
Right.
you try to diversify as well. Now imagine that I've seen people over here in Pakistan who are doing this Amazon bookkeeping.
Right.
It's a
I've heard of it.
multi-million-dollar business. People
surely
might
is.
not be aware of it as well. That for all of those people who are selling things on Amazon, there are people in countries like Pakistan who are doing bookkeeping for them. So
Right.
do you now think of diversifying and creating more jobs, or do you think that even within this business there's a lot more potential?
Well, I've got multiple people to come and pitch that idea, but I believe that what you do the best, just keep doing that.
Okay.
Do not diversify. Plus, multi-billion-dollar industry, if you leave that industry,
Yeah.
I don't think so that's a good option.
So where do you invest all those dollars that you earn? I'm sorry.
I invest on people.
It's a private question. But yes, you got to spend it somewhere,
Yeah.
because I know that for sure
Yeah.
those dollars are in a foreign account as of now, and whenever you have to get them to Pakistan, it's
Right.
probably $1,000, $800, $900, because there are a lot of challenges,
No,
in
I'm the
relation to that.
only company that does not keep dollars in the US.
Okay,
I get everything back to Pakistan because I invest on my people.
okay.
Right? When we do the hiring, we do not look at what workload we have. We look at how many people need jobs.
Yeah.
And Allah send me more business. This is my
Mashallah.
strong belief that
Mashallah.
if I create jobs, Allah gets me more business.
Exactly. So you're becoming that wasila for people as well.
Alhamdulillah, I think that
So now, for a person who was interviewing for his own job,
Yeah.
now when people come in, walk into your office for an interview, how do you judge them? Or what is that one thing that you're
Assessment
looking for, and
criteria.
how do you figure it out that, okay, he or she is the right person for me to work?
so if you talk about myself, when I interview people, I don't look at their degrees.
Okay.
I don't look at their background. I just ask them 2-3 simple questions.
I hope it's not कि ये pen बेच के दिखाओ or something of
No,
that.
no,
So
not like that. So I
keep
say,
going
who
on.
are you, where are you from, what do you want to do, you want to take care of your family? If I get you this opportunity, are you going to work hard and learn and grow? And if he or she says yes, they got the job.
That's it.
That's it.
It's as simple as that.
So I've tried hiring people for medical billing. This has been a myth in the industry that you have to be a graduate, 14 years of education. I changed that.
Okay.
I started hiring people who are metric, non-metric, intermediate, and they're the best billers ever.
MashaAllah.
Because medical billing is not a rocket science. It's
Exactly.
all about data entry, it's all about learning. And you can, once you basically cram the stuff, like there are certain processes.
Yeah.
When you understand, you can make anybody learn those processes.
And sir, did you got yourself into innovation as well? That okay,
Yes.
let's develop software, things like that, and invest on the business over and over again.
I am planning in the long run, but right now, since there are a lot of softwares available in the US and
Yeah.
they're very reasonable pricing available.
Exactly.
So instead of setting up your own software house, building something from the scratch when something is already available, which is already liked and used by the doctors, there is no need to reinvent the wheel.
Exactly. So very quickly towards the end, one last question. That is, so then, did you go to US?
I've got finally my visa. I got rejected one time. I applied for the visit visa.
Yeah.
This time around, I actually went ahead and applied for an
Working?
intra-company transfer visa,
Mashallah.
work visa from the US. So one of my partner actually got me the visa.
Dollar bills. Well, that's good. Thank you so much, Naeem Awasa, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with
Thank
you.
you so much.
May Allah give you more prosperity, more success. May you create
Jazakallah.
more jobs for people, and may you keep on bringing in dollars for our country we call Pakistan. Ladies
Thank
and
you very
gentlemen,
much.
this was this one amazing example of how you certainly, if you have self-belief, can do whatever you feel like doing as well. And certainly, I think before self-belief, it's your belief on the Almighty Allah as well. So for everybody who's out there, because right at the beginning, Haja was talking about how there are filters and whatnot. So let's kind of talk about that.
Of course,
as well
we're
for
going to
people.
talk about it, and we're going to develop interesting conversation, but right after the short break, so don't go anywhere. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome back, and before going on to the break, we alluded to what sort of conversation we are going to develop, and like I talked about in the starting of a conversation about how there are lots of conversation regarding the beauty filters and how the concept of beauty is totally getting changed. And it's not just digitally that how people are manifesting that, it is also there are lots of beauty clinics that have sprouted across the world, not just in Pakistan, and we are seeing that there are lots of transformation that are taking place. So in this era, in this very fast-paced world, in this very digital age, how to take care of your skin, and especially when we see that there's so much transition in the weather going on, because skin is the largest organ of your body, right? And it is our responsibility that it is the imanat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so we have to look after it. And how do we look after it? We have an amazing dermatologist in the studio who is going to enlighten us and walk us through a good skincare routine, and obviously what are some of the issues that people are facing and what sort of solutions are available. We are very glad that we have been joined by Dr. Zumar Awan, who happens to be a dermatologist. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Saib, and thank you so much for coming to our show.
Walaikum Assalam.
So Dr. Saiba, like I talked about, what exactly is a good skincare routine, especially now when we are transitioning from winters, because in winters we experience very flaky skin, there's lots of dryness, and now we are transitioning into a spring season, right? So, and we have different types of the skin types. We have dry skin, we have very oily skin, we have a combination of the both. So walk us through a good skincare routine.
And before you do that, let me share my, skincare routine. So my skincare routine for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, every single morning you wake up, take a hot shower, come out, kind of rub your face with the towel, whatnot, sabun.
I think there is lot more.
And that's it.
I think there's a lot more to
is,
it
yeah,
than that. I think this is just a very simplified version of that.
Allah ki kasam. I'm very sorry that I have to swear that as well. But for ever since, that I know that I exist in this world, there was only a face wash, probably with a soap. And then, that's it. Right afterwards, my mother would put a moisturizer on my face. So that's the only
oilless, right?
Only skincare that I've gotten. Do you think that that's the right skincare or not?
And is it different for men and women?
Yes, exactly, definitely. It's different for both men and women. And washing the face with soap is not good at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Muh to theek hai aaj tak mera.
Skin dry kar dega na, it will make your skin dry, patchy.
Okay, yeah. At times I do feel that my skin is red. That's why you have to put in moisturizer.
Right. And walk us through a good skincare routine.
You should wash your face with cold water.
Okay.
And apply some good moisturizer and vitamin C. Vitamin C is now not for every skin type. Like for acne prone people, vitamin C is not good. It can even worse your acne.
Okay.
So you should be careful that before applying anything, you should consult your good doctor, your dermatologist. He or she will recommend you the good products, then you can use them on the regular basis.
Exactly, but usually...
And obviously, Shahzad, you've also
I think it's her subject anyways, I'm very sorry.
You've gone through this thing because we are working in the media, and obviously we put on a lot of makeup, and it's just a requirement, right, of the cameras, right? So I've seen the actions, and that's not true because his vanity bag is even bigger than mine. So I need to present that as a proof, okay? So, that was on the light.
Yeah, if somebody can bring my vanity bag, it's in the office. If somebody can get me this, I want to show people.
Too, so we can have the comparison. Okay, so tell us about it, right? So people who are working in the, especially women who are working on the media, and they have to apply lots of layers of makeup. What is a good skincare routine for them?
They should use a good face wash, a good moisturizer, and secondly, they should get at least one hydrofacial done once in a month.
Okay.
For all the dust, impurities and makeup and your open pores, it's going to close it. It will clean your pores, and it's good for your skin too. It will hydrate your skin, moisturize your skin. Apart from that, you can use niacinamide if you have open pores. Normally people applying
a lot. So what exactly is the niacinamide, if you can?
It will shrink your pores. Normally people applying a lot of makeup on daily basis get open pores.
Yes.
So they should definitely apply niacinamide. And apart from that, if
you can get it easily from the market?
Yes, you can get easily, but try to use a dermatologically tested product.
Okay. Exactly, and in addition to this, where we're talking about our skin routine and how people are so into it these days as well. There are different serums coming in. Now imagine that I think one of the most important ingredient that I've learned about myself is probably hydrochloric acid.
Hyaluronic acid.
Hyaluronic acid, and it's I don't know why people are putting it on. So which is why because Dr. Saiba is over here. So what's the use of hyaluronic acid?
It will moisturize your skin, give it a good glow, and that's it. What hyaluronic acid.
So we've seen that there is an influx of lots of products into the market, like Shahzad mentioned, and there are lots of serums they're coming, and there are lots of brand. I think now every brand is working on that because they have become so much important. So I mean, have you ever heard as a dermatologist that they are not healthy or any sort of stories that how things have gone bad about it? So what are some of the myths you want to dispel here?
It totally depends on which brand you are using. If you are using a good brand, a good quality serums, it will not affect your or give any harm to your skin.
Right.
And
no, we'll do it afterwards. So I've got my vanity bag over here. Thank you, Gibran. Thank you, Sarah, for giving it to us as well. But please continue. So while we talk about hyaluronic acid, there's this one other thing that we get over here. I think it's a very cheap tube over here. It's an ingredient which we put into other serums as well. It's a 20-40 rupees tube which you get very easily over here. In UK, it's probably 100 or 200 pounds. I do not know about that ingredient, but it gives you red spots if you use it too much. Can you recall anything?
That might be
And he
steroid
just
based.
said that I the supplier.
Yeah, something of that. So if you use it too much, it gives you red spots. But because I cannot recall its name, let's move on towards where we were having this conversation about how people want a whiter skin. So they're whitening drips that are coming in. There's so much technology that are coming in, and I don't know. We are not sure whether people should get it done or not. So what is your recommendation on all of these whitening drips and whether they're lasting or not, and whether there are any repercussions to it? Please go ahead.
Like whitening drips will not make you like Snow White. It's a myth that whitening will get a lot of whitening. It gives a good glow to your skin. It controls your aging. If you are having any pigmentation or anything, it's going to cater it off. So many people are like that whitening drips can cause cancer. They are not good for us and something like that. But it's not like that.
Okay.
It totally depends that what kind of drips you are getting. If normally people come to our clinic and they are like that we are getting this drip in a very cheap rate from any other clinic.
Yes. True.
So why you are giving us it so costly? But the thing is that you should totally think that if you are getting something that much cheaper, okay, what kind of quality would be that?
True. And how long will it last for? Is it like
lasts for like 2 to
जवानी में
3
थोड़े से
years.
गोरे हुए फिर बुढ़ापे में फिर काले हो गए? Unfortunately, not that I'm discriminating in between color or something of that sort, but for anybody who's going to get themselves these whitening drips, they need to know this, that for how long whatever skin color that they want for themselves is going to last.
It will last for like 2 to 3 years, and 8 to 9 sessions are required.
Okay.
And
That's an extensive treatment. Right?
yes, that is a bit expensive, but not that much. It's much better to get it done once other than using steroid creams. Like he told that there's a tube which causes redness. Yeah. So make sure that which drip you are getting, it should be FDA approved, like from any clinic. Do check the box. Ask a doctor to show you the entire box. There's a QR code, scan it out and then get that drip.
Right, and we've also seen this tendency, Shahzad, and you've seen especially how there is the proliferation of Botoxes and fillers or filters or whatever you call it, and especially lots of celebrities, they are going for that, right?
Yeah.
And we have seen that there is a massive transformation, right? And sometimes that procedure has gone really horribly wrong, right? So we have seen that.
किसी का होंठ बड़ा हो गया,
Yeah. I
किसी
mean,
की eyebrow ऊपर ही रह गई है.
so obviously there is this trend, right? So then that instills a lot of fear, and especially someone who wants to go out for that, right?
Especially if
So-
you're on television.
Yes. So do
Imagine.
you encourage that or do you discourage that? And when things go wrong, so what happens that the things go wrong and things are not as desired as they imagine it to be? So what
Imagine
happens?
you're just like this every single day.
You can totally it's safe, and as a woman you know that every female wants to
But
look
then why
younger.
it goes wrong, right? If it's safe, then it should not go wrong, right?
It never goes wrong. Choose a wise physician first.
Yeah.
Right. So all
Probably
of
if
these
you
millionaires.
get it done too much.
Yeah, I mean, all of these millionaires, I'm pretty sure they have lots of money, right? And they're going for that. And then there was a horrible transformation going on, right? And that is a case study of, not,
Imagine if you
doing
injected 5
something with a
milliliter
natural-
over here and 2 milliliter over here, obviously the difference is going to be there. I
That
think.
totally depends on your physician. Na?
Yeah.
That you totally need to choose a wise physician who actually knows, have a good knowledge about all these things. And people normally, what people do is like they run towards a clinic which is cheaper one. ठीक है, और उसके बाद they face such
Imagine.
things. Yeah.
Imagine, so it's. I think if I am to put it or probably explain it to you with an example, imagine that if I'm going to go, God forbid, if
Right.
my car needs some paint job done. Imagine if I'm going to go to somebody where I want it done cheaper. Obviously there's no going to be lab which is going to match the color and whatnot. So whatever they think with an andaza, what is an andaza? Probably.
estimation
Yeah,
or
yeah,
recognition,
estimation. Yes,
right?
estimation. So if they're just going to estimate it based on their skill level as well. Now imagine if I'm going to go spend a little bit more money on my car. I think what they'll do is that they'll take it to the lab, they'll get the color tested, they'll make sure that it matches, and only then the things will work out. So imagine that you to your skin,
Right.
just because it's a cheaper treatment and you want to be
Right.
in race with all of those other people getting those treatments,
Right.
I think what you really need to do is kind of consult a psychologist first, because you know you're hurting yourself.
But Shehzad, then there is another thing, another dimension to this entire dynamic. It's that as a layperson, we are not that aware of the medical terminologies or all of those medical things. So we are looking for the medical experts, or I mean, whatever you call them, the dermatologists, or they have some very fancy terms to it, right? So whatever they are going to recommend to us aestheticians, or whatever they're going to recommend to us, we as a layperson are going to believe that,
Yes,
right?
skin
we do not,
surgeons.
yes, of course, because we do not have any knowledge about it as a layperson, right? And I think this is also heavy responsibility on those doctors and all of those aestheticians, that they should guide their clients properly, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about the money, it's also about the right guidance that you are
Exactly.
getting, right? And that right guidance always, because whatever they're going to tell us, we are going to believe it, because we don't have any knowledge about it, right? We are not experts in the field.
You know, you're getting eczema now. We don't know what's eczema. You know, you're getting this. You
All
know,
of
we
these
don't
fancy,
know. Yeah.
very complicated medical terms. But now let's talk about one of the recurring problem, and that is about the acne and all of the skin dark spots that are occurring, right? So how to deal with them, and what are, and do you think that they can be cancerous and they can cause long-term harm to your skin? So what do you have to say about it?
No, not at all. We have many advanced treatments nowadays, like skin boosters, mesotherapies, other than PRP. Normally people are like, they are getting their PRP done, but they are not getting the good results, the
Right.
desired results basically. So we have many advanced procedures for this other than medication. We definitely give some antibiotics as well, and apart from that, you need to get some treatments done, that is mesotherapy, skin booster, and many other procedures like this.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zumar, for being with us.
Thank
It was
you so
lovely
much.
to be in
Thank you so
conversation with you, and you know, for such an expert to be
Thank
over
you.
here and let our people know, and you know, make them more aware of what they really need to do. Ladies and gentlemen, if you feel the need for it, you know, please make sure that you go to a highly trained, skilled professional, so that you're not in hands of people who might not even know what they're doing. So please make sure. Thank you so much, Dr. Zumar, for being with
Thank
us.
you so much.
And very quickly, coming down towards my vanity bag, so I'll show you what I have in my vanity bag. I'm not going to put it up because there's a lot of
Why-
makeup.
why- why?
Because first of all, obviously, for people who have hair, ladies and gentlemen, we do need hairspray. Okay, so that's hairspray. Yes, we're wonderful. Okay, what else do I have? A brush. Sorry, there's a lot of things coming out. A brush to brush my hair, and it's always good to kind of have like a private collection of whatever makeup or things you do. There's Atta, you know, this was gifted to me by, you know, a prince, and so I've always kept it with me. What else? Yeah, so I write a lot, so I need a pen. You know, I have pen.
Just show the size of the bag,
in my
okay?
bag. Okay. Okay, so I cannot lie, right? Okay, so, you know, so I have a base stick as well, which I haven't used, you know, so I don't use like a lot of base, but there's a lot of puffing which goes on, you know, just to hide the dark circles, so I cannot lie about what I use.
I
This
think
is
you
something.
think-
This is something which I've kept for Haja because she needs it a lot of time. This is probably blush on or something. I've never used it. You can see the things. It's right over here. There's one more thing. What's that? Okay, let me see what's more interesting. Okay, what's that? This is a liquid concealer.
I think
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it now. Do I even feel like a man now? Wow, I think it's questionable.
Our loyal audience already know that you have a track record of promising me chocolates, and after a year long of a wait,
Yeah.
he gave me a chocolate, and I'm really
Yeah.
grateful to that. And he has an amazing vanity bag, and he's just not showing it. So
Yeah.
I mean, the onus is entirely on him. So no matter how many products, he's
Yeah,
just
a sanitizer. You would always,
selectively taking out from the bag and showing it out.
a sanitizer, you'd always need that, and whenever you're in a makeup room, obviously, you know, so that you know
Yes,
that
of
the
course.
makeup artist could actually feel good about you. Just a good, you know, perfume. That's it. Yeah, you feel good about it, ladies and gentlemen. So please make sure that you carry your own stuff, because with that you're going to protect your skin. So the sole reason for anybody, they can think, "Hi Allah, एडा वड़ा मर्द है, इन्ना makeup लाके फिर रहे हैं, भाईजान अपना ख्याल खुद ही रखना पैंदा, सीधी जी गल है." Yeah.
That's very true, and thank you so much for saying that. And I think once again we would like to reiterate this message across, that your skin is the largest organ, and it is your responsibility to take care of it, because it is the amanat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, and especially as we are transitioning from the winter to the spring season, so make sure that you look after your skin, and make sure that you always reflecting whatever self-care you're applying into your personality. And with that, we will say Allah Hafiz
Yeah,
to you.
and very quickly towards the end, there's one last thing, because now when we're going to wrap up, you know, the next gentleman is actually ready with the news bulletin as well. He's got a bigger makeup bag than me. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, look after yourselves. 1, 2, 3. Good morning.